the day that the doctor gave me the paper to read, I remember him handing me the paper. And it was like time just stopped and stood still.
And I knew immediately right then and there that I was positive.
A paper that was full of words, and out of that whole page, the only thing I saw was HIV.
I was on fall break in my senior year of high school.
In 1995, after having a horrible crack addiction, I was diagnosed with HIV.
From the time that I entered into the building, I already felt that sense of just being cold, that sense of fear that surrounded me.
And he went on to tell me that he was going to refer me to one of the best doctors that he felt in the world, that had all the expertise, that he was going to refer me to him, and that I needed to go see him immediately. And the doctor was Dr. Stephen Rafante.
Like 1991, I already had about 600 patients. And we had a clinic at General Hospital, the health department in Vanderbilt.
Most nights clinic didn't get finished at 6:30, so almost 7 o'clock.
It was a death sentence. Like there were more people dying than it was people staying alive.
If you think of the first 12 months that the clinic was open, about 359 people died. That's almost a person a day.
And we went to see Dr. Rafante, and I met a sweet lady by the name of Beverly Byram.
For a lot of our folks, we were the only safe place they had, the only place they could come and be treated well and respected and open up. Some of them, their parents had disowned or families had disowned.
I went through the factors of disclosure with my family, the factors of being accepted by my peers and coworkers.
It still felt like a death sentence to me, and I began using again. And believe it or not, they've been with me through my whole addiction. At some of the worst times in my life.
I think for a lot of us, our compass in life and for the medicine that we do has been caring for underserved populations.
This is the most urgent medical need in the history of our planet at that point.
And you would see them today, and 2 weeks from now, they were no longer, with us.
It sort of stripped away all of the things that didn't matter, all the material things and all of the day-to-day things that just don't matter. And so we had real intense relationships with our folks.
And then late 95, early 96, the new meds came out and everyone started getting better.
AZT, if their CD4 cell count is below 200, DDI, and if they're really sick, AZT plus DDI. And that was the regimen. That was all we had.
So my experience with HIV has been much of a journey.
And it wasn't like I was at a doctor's appointment or at a doctor's office. It was like I was being placed in the hands of people that knew exactly what I was feeling at that time, what I was thinking.
I think your role is somewhat as a cheerleader at that point too. You're that positive reinforcement that the hard work that they're putting into it is paying off.
I'm sure there were times when they thought that I was going to just be another person that was going to die from the virus because I wouldn't stop using, but they stuck with me through it all.
We had community donors that gave us a significant amount of money, and then we used that to renovate. And then we moved here October 2010.
Now I'm at the Vanderbilt CCC clinic, but before that, I was at the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital.
We kind of like the one-stop shopping to getting most of the care the patient needs here. They could spend a day here and bring their lunch and be able to get the services that they need.
Who knew we would have over 3,000 active patients? You know, who knew that this would be like this?
I went from taking 15 pills a day to 2.
No one could predict that we would be telling our women, have your babies and plan on becoming grandmas, because you're going to live this long, wonderful, healthy life if you stay on task and take care of yourself.
One thing I think that bothers a lot of the providers at our clinic, and I know across the country, is this new influx of young people.
Young, well-educated, really engaging young men come in with new diagnoses of HIV.
I had the privilege of somebody taking me to go get tested. Many young males like my color, like my age, who come from my background, don't have the knowledge or information to go get tested or even know where they can get tested in the city of Nashville or Middle Tennessee, in Williamson County, Dixon County, even Sumner County.
And I do think that stigma is still very real today.
They don't want to tell their parents that they're gay, so why would they even tell their parents that they've got a disease that their parents feels they've got it because they're gay?
All that needs to be addressed, and I don't know how to address that except to continue to be there for our patients.
They never stop loving me. That unconditional love is priceless.
Bottom line is, it's a reminder every day that you take your medication, you have this thing, you have this disease that you don't necessarily want to tell people about. You don't hesitate to say, I have high blood pressure, right?
And it doesn't happen to them. It happens to you. It can happen to you. It can happen to me. It happened to me. I remember I used to walk the streets at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and just wondering, is this what my life was? Is this what I was born for?
But in a lot of ways, there are increasing challenges too.
Right now, HIV is not a curable infection.
You know, the climate of healthcare does not make it any easier to care for our patients, and in a lot of instances makes it much harder.
Everything from, transportation to really poverty, lack of resources.
That's the gasoline, that's the fuel that fuels fires, that starts things that leak over into ignorance, that leak over into access not being brought to the communities that are needed.
We're constantly unsure of the shifting healthcare climate and insurance landscape for our patients.
People not being educated plays a big part in that too, and fear.
So you have to educate yourself before you help anybody else out.
I'd like to see that sense of involvement and wanting to know more and wanting to educate more before somebody in your family or close to you is infected.
But I would say be an ally. See how you can be a volunteer.
I'd like for people to invite and create atmospheres at your job, at school, at your church.
Money is needed to do anything. Give, give, give.
For people to be educated and talk about it, they need to be teaching it.
And those efforts help to support people like me.
We have phenomenally effective treatment, a pill that prevents HIV. What we need is a second wind of community activism and support. If we just use these tools correctly, we can truly end the epidemic.
I wanted to live. And I didn't just want to, I wanted to live. I wanted to live in a big way.